to go. Marvellous. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. It's really great to have a good mix of people from across Essex, Kent and Sussex. Just to introduce Natural PR, we're a PR agency that specialises in food and drink in Sussex. And I'm here today to help you with telling your story. I know that a lot of you may tell your story very well already, but hopefully you're coming on to see if you've missed anything. And some of you may be starting from scratch. So I'm just going to give it to you the way I think it should be done. And then I just hope that you'll find something useful from today's session. I'm going to do a 25-minute presentation and share some really good examples with you and the basics of how to tell your story. And then I'm going to ask you to have a bash at doing it yourself, to look at your key points. And we'll then come back together and people can share some of their ideas and we can have a bit of a discussion. So that's the format. So just moving on, my background, I've had over 30 years of PR experience in a variety of in-house and agency roles. I founded Natural PR in 2008 and we mainly work in Sussex on food and drink. And sustainable projects, and that does include hospitality as well. We've worked with lots of artisan food and drink producers, hotels, pubs, restaurants, cafes, retailers, from farm shops to the Southern Co-op. And also I'm co-director of Natural Partnerships Community Interest Company, a not-for-profit, and we're the Sussex Food and Drink Network. And we run sussexfoodanddrink.org, which offers free listings for Sussex food and drink businesses. And we also run the Sussex Food and Drink Awards, which has been going for about 15 years. So that's my background. But getting on with what we're doing today. So we're looking at local food and drink businesses and how to tell your story. So I think it's quite obvious that 2020 to 21 has been a very difficult year for us. I don't need to tell you this, it's changed so many things about running our businesses and tackling our marketplace. Yes, we've all had a really challenging time. Producers have been forced to find brand new routes to market, retailers having to completely change business practice, hospitality having to shut doors and do anything possible to stay afloat. But it does feel that we have got a light at the end of the tunnel at last. And what are the positives? Well, Brexit and COVID, whatever you think of either, have both made local food and drink more important to our British customers than ever. We've got a fantastic range of products of the highest quality in our region. We've got great animal welfare and hygiene standards. The customer, our communities, want to support our local communities now in a way that they may never have done before. And I think that our customers also want to protect our environment, and we need to reinforce that message that buying local means less food miles. So let's focus on how you can make local work for you and how to tell your story effectively. First of all, why do you need a story? Well, the basics are it's vital to create strong marketing. It's crucial for matching your business to the right customer target group that you want to reach. It helps create long-term loyal customers, and it helps you to stand out from the competition. So a clear and distinctive proposition should also help lessen price from the equation. Obviously, those of us who support local produce do have to put a higher price on it. Artisan producers, the cost of creating your product may be a lot higher. But if you have a distinct and clear proposition, then that often takes the price out of the equation. So even if you're having to charge quite a high price, your market wants it. So delicious, healthy, high welfare food and local provenance provide a value that far greater than commodities ever can. So focusing on sort of practicalities, to tell your story, you need a USP, and this is what we'll come on to again later on to help you really eke out what it is that's special about you and how to tell your story. You need to develop your brand story and the unique selling proposition for your products so that you differentiate yourself from your regional and national and international competitors. We'll come on to an exercise to develop 5 key messages to say who you are and what you do. Why you are different as business owners, what are your values? We need to identify your core customer base, who they are and what will capture their interest and make them connect with you. And another vital thing about it all is to be consistent across all your marketing. So everything needs to run smooth together: branding, website, packaging, social media, etc. We strongly recommend that you use your website and social media channels effectively. And that's really the place where people start to find out who you are and what your story is. The About Us on your website page should tell your story. And you need to make it personal. You're not an anonymous corporate. You need to establish an emotional connection with potential visitors while reinforcing credibility messages. You need to use photos of yourself and your team. You should consider adding biographies of the team if you haven't already. People want to really know who you are behind that product that they're going to buy or that service they're going to purchase. You need to express your values and identify how they align with your target customer group. Do you support any local charities or communities? If so, explain why this is important to you, and that's all part of your personality. And you should use all of this in social media too. I'm going to come on to some examples of some really well-told stories of other food and drink businesses in the region, starting with the Max Farm, who produce eggs. This is their story as they've written it. They're a 4th generation organic egg farming family who really love what they do. Our farm is located in the beautiful village of Ditchling. You've got them, you know where they are. The Max Farm was bought in 1994 by Grandma and Grandpa. You're getting a personal feel already, who were one of the first ever suppliers of free-range eggs to the major supermarkets. That's a strong historical point and credible. Originally, our farm consisted of 1 shed that was used for pig farming. The farm has now been organic for 20 years, and today we have 4 chicken sheds housing a total of 18,000 organic free-range birds, or girls as we like to call them. And you'll notice there again, it's that sort of 18,000 sounds like a lot of birds, but once you start calling them girls, you realise that these people personally care about those chickens and they're looking after them. Our girls work hard for every single day to produce high quality, delicious eggs for us all to eat. We open up our farm Monday to Saturday for egg sales every summer for camping and throughout the year for family-friendly events. So they're very open, transparent. You can visit, you can see, touch and smell. Food, farming and environmental education is so important to us and is the driving force behind everything we do. That's really important, strong credential. We love what we do so much, and what we love the most is being able to open up our farm and share it with you. They're really connecting with you. And even that cute little signature in the heart just makes it very personal and emotional. So here they are, the Max Farm. This is the kind of photo that really reflects everything that they've just said in their story. They're a great example of this is a great example of telling a story which has the family story in it, the history of the farm, their ethical values, and their compassion. They rehome hens as well, and on their website you see how they rehome the hens once they've done their laying, and how you can join in with that as well if you can offer homes for hens. Oh, fancy little twirl there. So another example, so I'll just share some examples just so that you can really think about how you do your storytelling and how you might learn from others or draw some ideas from them. Here's another lovely brand, Trenchmore, and that's Sussex beef and cider, 2 quite different products that are made at one farm. Andrew has said, who runs Trenchmore Farm, for people who care about quality and provenance, Trenchmore is a mixed farm striving to be environmentally, ethically and economically sustainable. By farming for flavour, not yield, we help to differentiate ourselves and our customers. Their message is farming for flavour. and they sell grass-fed Sussex cross Wagyu beef, which is obviously quite a rare commodity, a rare product, and an expensive one to make, and silly moo cider. And this is an example of a personal family business with ethical values, quality, complementing their customers' good taste, and of storytelling about cows and cider together. So I'll just move on to a bit of how they do that. They present themselves in this very personal and lovely way, so you really get to know them. Even going back to Andrew when he was 8 years old and won a story competition, writing about how he wanted to save money to buy cows, and about Joanne, his wife, who spent summers in a farm, and they've been drawn to farming all their lives. There's also their family. These are their son and daughter. They're now very involved. Rachel she leads on creating the silly moo cider. They say that the basic stuff has worked well for them, making the best products they can, helping people discover them, being easy to find and to communicate with, having a really good logo, a decent website, consistent packaging. All these things, they say, are fundamental. They have identified their market in a really clever way. They work with local chefs, and they really are the big name top local chefs that they work with their fabulous Sussex cross Wagyu beef. And so they work with the local chefs, influencers, and like-minded retailers, diners and butchers. And it's all the best of those that they work with. They help them to succeed as well. They've built this so that actually pubs and restaurants and places say we're having a Trenchmore night and they're doing Trenchmore beef that night. They've become synonymous with the best places to eat. And this has helped them to succeed, going beyond good service. They suggest ideas on how to market what they're doing, and their partners and their customers actually can sell themselves on the back of their quality product they buy from them. They go into stores and they're willing to get out there and help their customers showcase their product, answer questions, do tastings, all that kind of thing. Andrew said it all takes time and effort, but it definitely pays dividends to do that. And they use local press, radio, events, awards where they can, and amplify their online social. Here are some images, again, coming back to just how important it is to have some really good images that completely reflect your story and your brand. It's vital that you have that, and it's definitely worth the investment. I'll come back and mention photos again later. And here they are again, just getting personal again, making you emotionally attached to them. Silly Moo Cider's name came about as our cows go a little bit silly when they get the chance to devour the apple pomace left behind from pressing the juice. It's personal, it's sort of emotional. They open up for people to bring their apples to contribute to the Silly Moo cider making. Moving on to a different kind of company, Horsham Gingerbread and Biscuit Company. The story of Horsham Gingerbread Bakehouse, founded by Leslie Ward in 2013. The Horsham Gingerbread Bakehouse produces distinctively delicious gingerbreads and gluten-free biscuits. The town of Horsham in West Sussex was once famous for its gingerbread production, and it was the notion of reviving this fame and her vast collection of historic handwritten recipes that inspired Leslie to develop her range of products. So you've got a lovely bit of history there. Baked in small batches at a family bakery near Chichester in West Sussex, all of the gingerbreads and biscuits are made with the finest natural and locally sourced ingredients. So that's their simple story and how they present themselves. It's very much a family business, and this is reflected throughout all of their website, their online social and all the rest of it. You meet their family, you've got grandma and grandpa, you've got the grandchildren, you've got the daughters. Leslie shares her story. I had a mother who preferred gardening to cooking, so my own love of cookery was born from my very first lesson at school. I've always cooked with my own daughters, and it seemed an easy way of entertaining them. And like me and their father, they love good food. Again, really emotive personal attachment is created. And then they also feature use of other local products and working with other partners locally to sort of pull together that local feel. And to strengthen their story and widen their reach. So their news stories and blogs, they talk about the linseed farm because they use some of the linseed oil in their food. Wheeled and Down an Open Air Museum, they use milled flour from there. They featured on an Escape to the Country TV programme, so that video is there on their website. They're a really good example of using the history of the business and the history of the area, in fact, as part of their story. They use educational content, and they're really important. They've got that whole personal family story that makes people start to really feel loyal and attached to them. They've got local provenance, which is so important to most of our businesses, I expect those of you who are here today. And they've got really good quality ingredients, and they take great care in the production of their product. And then I think this is the last example I was going to use before we get on to some specifics to build up to doing a bit of an exercise. Bolney Wine Estate and their 18-acre cafe. Again, talking about their history, they're proud of their history, how far our family has come in the last 5 decades. We're one of the pioneers of the industry, and our experiments, experience and passion has, we hope, helped encourage or energise others who have joined our craft. Our mission is to produce delicious, I don't know how to say this, artisanally made quality wines. And they talk about their history again, and they've got a very strong history because they were one of the first winemakers in the South East, 1972 when they started. And they've been a great example to the rest of the wine community as it's evolved and blossomed in the South East. So they've got a lovely story there. They're another really good example. It's worth looking at their content, of relevant, authentic. They've got a great family story. They share their personal journey. They share the history of the vineyard. They're very strong on local provenance, and they have very strong branding that runs across all of their marketing. So just moving on to some practicals. I don't know whether I'm racing or I'll just check the time. Oh no, we're right on time, I think. Your marketing pack. I'd mentioned how important it is to have consistency, and also it's really important to be quick and ready. So I just wanted to throw this in, that you really should have your marketing pack ready. All that has to be is a file on your laptop. I don't mean anything complicated, but you just need to have everything in one place, really easy to grab, so that if the media gets in contact and wants to run something about you, you're ready to just give it to them straight away, all the bits they need, and likewise your buyers. So the core elements for your marketing pack are having your story about your product and about you, 20 to 50 word description. You probably need one of each. You need your logo and brand guidelines. And you need your fantastic photos of both your product and of you and your business, so that you're representing your brand through those photographs. And you've got them all ready in a file so that the media gets in touch, and likewise if buyers get in touch. But with buyers, of course, you need your price list ready as well. So that's another part of your marketing pack already. So make sure you've got a really clear and defined price list with those marketing elements. And then you're ready to go, and you won't. And you can lose so many people in the first hurdle. The media might be interested in covering you, but if you're not ready to give them everything they need right away, they'll go with someone else because they just have tight deadlines. And buyers are the same. They don't want to hang about waiting, and they're not going to chase you. So be ready. So that was sort of background that I wanted to cover, along with some examples and ideas that you can draw from. And then many more, and I'm sure some of you have got some absolutely beautifully told stories already, but maybe you can tweak them a little bit, and maybe you can learn a bit from some of those other examples to add and improve yours. What I wanted to do next was for you to get your paper and pen ready and to spend 10 minutes writing bullet points about your business. We're looking for 5 different points to help build your story. I'm going to leave this screen up to help you. And I'll set the time in a minute. And then I wondered if you could just go through and just try and find those 5 different points that really make you stand out, your business and you and your family, if you're a family business. What makes you special? What is it that really tells people about you and your business and your product? USP, how you make it, just thinking back to some of those examples I've covered, how you make it, where it comes from, the team behind it, the history of it, the ingredients, all these things are really key. Try and pick out those things that matter most about how you should tell your story. And also think about who your customers are, or who your customers should be, because sometimes at the moment you're selling perhaps not to the right customers. For example, it's important to think about price point here. If you have to charge more because yours is an expensive artisan product or service, then you need to brand and position it correctly to meet that market, to reflect the people who want to buy it in a way that they value. So if you can just spend a bit of time looking for your 5 different points, looking at things like provenance, family backstory, personal journey, team stories, and all these things I've got on the screen. Just try and pull out 5. And when you're finished, can you click on the little hand button so that we know that you're ready? And then when most of you are done, then we'll come back to you and see if any of you are brave enough to share some of your points, and then we can discuss them. Okay, so over you go, and we're going to be quiet during this time until we see your hands are up. So don't be disturbed by the silence. Okay.